Okay, let's dive right into this fascinating explainer breaking down Edwin L. Haislet's classic manual. We're going to see how he completely transforms the way we view the seemingly chaotic world of boxing, turning it into a highly structured science. When most people flip on a boxing match, they just see two people throwing hands, basically trying to survive a brutal contest. But Haislet's work? It absolutely shatters that perception. He presents the sport as this meticulous, biomechanical art form, where literally every single movement is calculated, practiced, and perfected.
So we start by contrasting our untrained, natural instincts with the calculated art of scientific boxing. According to Haislet, straight hitting from the shoulder, it's not a natural act at all. Our natural tendency, and you see this in the wild with bears and cats, is to slap, cuff, and swing in these wide, sweeping arcs. Scientific boxing, though, forces you to toss those wild instincts right out the window in favor of straight hitting. Why? Well, it's simple physics. A straight line is the shortest distance between 2 points. A straight blow is going to beat a hooking swing every single time. It's faster, it's safer, and it is infinitely more accurate.
Haislet hits the nail on the head right in his preface. He makes it crystal clear. Mastering the sweet science isn't about brute strength. Not at all. It's about the strict automatization of motor skills through a very specific learning sequence. You aren't just learning how to throw a punch here, you are literally rewiring your nervous system. He argues that if you just follow the correct sequence of techniques, placing each foundational block exactly where it belongs, a natural development of incredible skill is almost guaranteed.
All right, here's our training schedule for today's explainer. 1. The fundamental position. 2. The mechanics of hitting. 3. Essential defense. And 4. Counterattacks. Let's get into it.
Starting off with part 1, the fundamental position. This is the absolute bedrock of everything that follows.
Now you might be wondering about the why behind the traditional orthodox stance. It places the left foot forward primarily because that naturally allows a right-handed person to generate maximum swinging power. Haislet actually compares it to the stance of a blacksmith swinging a heavy sledgehammer. It makes perfect sense, right? It's a stance born out of the absolute necessity to shift weight and generate immense power from that dominant right side. It perfectly balances the body, giving your muscles exactly the right tone for lightning-fast reaction times.
Moving right along to part 2, the mechanics of hitting. This is where we build the engine.
To really drive home the point that true power comes from the body's mass and not just your arm swinging, we have to look at this legendary quote from the heavy-hitting boxing great Sam Langford. Haislet makes this absolutely clear. Arm action alone is entirely insufficient to give real concussive power to a blow. True power is all about utilizing your body weight and every single strike. Your arms? They're basically just the vehicle delivering the force that your body generates.
And this diagram right here brilliantly illustrates exactly how to execute that with the pivot. Haislet wants you to imagine a rigid steel rod placed straight down your spine, extending right into the floor. That rod prevents you from swaying, bending, or taking wild steps forward. Instead, it only allows your waist to whip the body's weight from side to side. It's this incredibly quick twist of the waist, literally shifting your full body weight from one leg to the other without taking a step, that creates that devastating, concentrated force right at the point of impact.
But listen, before you even think about launching all that generated power, you have to know how to form your weapon. Haislet points out that simply not knowing how to properly clench a fist accounts for most of the broken hands in the sport. You have to follow exact mechanical steps. Fingers tightly curled into the center of the palm, the thumb securely locked over the second and third fingers, and you have to ensure that top thumb side of the fist is perfectly flat. It's not just making a fist, it's a precise engineering requirement to keep your bones from shattering on impact.
All right, so once you have the stance, the pivot, and the fist, you are ready to deploy what Haislet calls your heavy artillery, the straight right. The secret to its massive power is actually in using the stiff left side of your body as an anchor or a hinge. Think about the exact same physical principle you use when you forcefully slam a heavy door shut. By shifting your weight to the forward left leg and aggressively pivoting that right hip and shoulder, you deliver a finishing blow that is literally designed to end the contest.
Okay, let's switch gears to part 3, footwork and essential defense, building the ultimate shield. Just look at this massive list. Haislet categorizes a huge array of defensive techniques, which really proves that neutralizing an attack isn't just about covering your face. It's an incredibly intricate, calculated art form all by itself. It requires these incredibly subtle judgments of speed and coordination. You go from taking the blow on the gloves with a block to lightly deflecting it with a parry, all the way to entirely nullifying the force by rolling backwards with the punch.
But here's a really crucial detail in the hierarchy of these moves. While blocking is a perfectly fine first line of defense, it can cause tissue damage and knock you off balance. Slipping the punch, meaning avoiding it entirely by moving your head just a fraction of an inch, is highly preferred by the experts. And the reason is brilliant. Performing a sudden slip leaves both of your hands completely free, perfectly loaded and ready to launch a devastating return strike while your opponent is fully extended and totally out of position.
Take a close look at these illustrations. Even when dropping levels to attack the body, a master fighter's fundamental balance is never compromised. Notice how the left leg is bent to drop the elevation, the chin is strictly tucked behind the shoulder, and the head is tilted to stay protected. Even right in the middle of a forceful offensive lunge toward the opponent's solar plexus, the biomechanical priority of defense and balance remains absolute. Finally, we hit part 4, strategy and counterattacks. This is where it elevates to high-level psychological warfare.
Haislet completely flips the script on the counterattack here. To the untrained eye, a counter looks like a reaction, but it's actually not a defensive action at all. It is an advanced offensive method that literally uses the opponent's momentum against them. It relies entirely on foreknowledge, knowing exactly what openings will naturally occur when your opponent tries to hit you, and then exploiting that exact opening with perfect timing.
So, how do you actually pull this off in a split second when punches are flying? Well, the only way this works in real time is through intense, relentless conditioning. You cannot stop to think during a fight. You have to drill these specific responses so deeply into your nervous system that when a certain punch comes at you, your parry and counterstrike become a purely automatic reflex. You practice slowly for hours, days, weeks, until the opponent's lead brings out your counter without a single conscious thought. This sequence right here is just a beautiful illustration of that high-speed chess match in motion. As the opponent throws a straight left, the boxer executes an inside parry, brushing the arm outward. This immediately shifts their own weight to the left leg, creating that pivot we talked about earlier. The body wheels sharply, sinking a sickening, jarring left hook directly into the opponent's liver while they are completely exposed and unbalanced. It relies entirely upon speed, deception, and muscle memory. And that brings us to the ultimate expression of this high-level strategy, the setup. A master boxer doesn't just throw punches hoping one magically lands. They use rhythmic combinations of blows to mathematically steer the opponent into a helpless position. You use a pre-planned sequence, like maybe a slip to the body followed by a blow to the head, to deliberately maneuver them so that the final blow of your series finds a completely clean, devastating opening for the knockout.
Ultimately, what Haislet is showing us is that the master boxer attacks through pure deception. They utilize feints, these tiny decoy movements of the eyes, the hands, or the body, to manipulate the opponent's reactions. If you know exactly how an opponent will react to a fake jab, you can literally force them to create their own weaknesses, tying them into absolute knots. You aren't just fighting their physical body anymore, you are hijacking their reflexes.
So, I'll leave you with this. The next time you watch a boxing match, keep Edwin L. Haislet's methodologies in the back of your mind. Look for that rigid pivot, look for the straight lines, and watch for those strategic feints. Are you really just watching a brutal brawl, or are you witnessing the ultimate physical chess match where a single, perfectly calculated millimeter decides who stands and who falls? It completely changes the way you see the sweet science, doesn't it?